government of Davao.
Mr. Chair, if
It is
the
not-
resource speaker is making a representation that he has no knowledge whatsoever about the program utilization where this confidential fund were spent, then who has knowledge over the utilization to which program of this confidential funds?
Your Honor, I can only speak for myself.
Mr. Chair?
On my end, Your Honor, respectfully, much as I want to give a definitive answer, I have no personal information as to the utilization, disbursement of the confidential funds.
Honorable Jinky Luistro.
As a follow-through, Attorney Sulaika, ilan po ba ang key officials ng OVP? I'm referring to key officials only.
There are 5 key officials, Your Honor.
Can you please mention these 5 key officials?
The undersecretary,
Can you please include the name?
Oh, yes.
Assuming this position.
yes, for number 1, the undersecretary, that is me, Zuleika Lopez. Our assistant secretary, Mr. Lemuel Ortonio. Our director for admin and finance services, that is Director Rosalyn Sanchez. Our director for operations, that is Mr. Norman Baloro. And our director for strategic management office, that is Attorney Sunshine Fajarda, Your Honor.
How important is this Thanksgiving anniversary celebration in Caraga? It's not even at the NCR. It does not even represent a regional representation because he made mention only of 3 specific LGUs. Why? Of all key officials. Bakit naman po sa dami ng opisyal ng OVP, ito pang matagal na pong iniimbita ng Good Government Committee na si SDO Gina Acosta at si Assistant Chief of Staff Ortonio ang nakaisip na mag-represent ng OVP sa Thanksgiving celebration?
Your Honor, I cannot answer that because, for one thing, I was not the one who issued the travel authority. For another, I cannot presume to understand or know of the wisdom of the person who actually signed it. So, therefore, I cannot really directly answer that question.
To continue,
respectfully.
Attorney, it is not my intention to undermine the significance of those activities in Caraga. But we are thinking individuals here between defending the institution, the office of the OVP, and attending the Thanksgiving celebration in the 3 LGUs in LGU. Hypothetical lang po. Which do you think is more important?
Your Honor, every activity we roll out, whether it's in the NCR or in our satellite
Mr. Chair,
offices.
can we please direct our resource speaker to answer the question? This is a hypothetical question, Attorney Lopez.
Please
If you
answer
will be made
responsibly.
to choose, saan ho ba kayo pupunta? Sa hearing ng Good Government Committee, where you will be given the chance to defend the office pertaining to the issues surrounding it, particularly the utilization of confidential fund, or the Thanksgiving celebration in the 3 small LGUs of the Caraga region?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, the decision to attend the committee hearing of this honorable committee is a personal one.
I understand, Mr. Chair, but this is a hypothetical question that is being raised to our resource speaker.
I can only answer for myself, Your Honor, and my decision was to attend today's hearing.
Thank you, Attorney Sulaika. Now to proceed, Attorney. Tagasan po ba kayo? Where did you originate?
I was born in Davao City, ma'am.
Can you please enlighten us where in Davao at kailan po ba kayo pinanganak? At least the year.
Your 1974, Your Honor.
You were born 1974 in Davao City, and I
That's correct.
understand you were appointed as city administrator for a long time of Davao City. May I ask, attorney, kailan po ba yung first encounter ninyo with our vice president?
Uh, my f- my first encounter with the Vice President was really because of work, Your Honor.
In other words, hindi po kayo childhood friends, hindi po kayo classmates, you are not even friends prior to your appointment as city administrator. Tama po ba ako?
Your Honor, the Vice President was I was an upper class of the Vice President in the College of Law of San Beda, Your Honor.
In other words, you were schoolmates during the law school years. Tama po?
We were schoolmates, but we were not, how do you call that, friends
Acquainted?
or acquainted.
So when did you become acquainted with each other?
When I took on the position of Secretary to the Sanggunian, Your Honor.
When was this, Attorney Lopez?
I think 2007, Your Honor.
So this is prior to your appointment as city administrator.
That is correct, Your Honor.
You were first appointed as Sangguniang Bayan Secretary in 2007 before you were appointed as city administrator from 2010 until 2022. Is my data correct? Are my data correct?
There is a gap, Your Honor, because for a time, the Vice President was not the mayor.
Yes.
So just for, I think, 6 years. I was city admin for 6 years.
Let us go to your position as city administrator, Attorney Lopez. Ano po bang functions ng isang city administrator?
Your Honor, the city administrator, in my experience, we actually develop plans and programs on how to effectively and efficiently implement programs and projects that are initiated by the local chief executive. That's one. And then another would be the coordination with all the city department heads. In the case of Davao City being a highly urbanized city, I think we have around almost 40 city department heads, Your Honor. Not to mention, part of my task also is to chair and preside over various committees of the city, such as the Zoning Committee, Tourism Board, Davao City Investment and Promotion Committee, etc. Totaling also more than 30 committees. Apart from that, of course, the city administrator is also tasked with the administrative delivery of administrative support services, particularly in times of disaster operations, notable of which is, for example, there's massive flooding, or in the case of COVID in 2019.
That is an ample function, Attorney Lopez. And in fact, our time allotted for committee hearing might not be enough for you to be able to share with us the so many functions of a municipal or city administrator. Am I correct?
Yes, Your
But
Honor.
I have some specific questions for you. As city administrator, do you recommend to the LCE the appointment of key officials?
Your Honor, in my experience, I never proposed a recommendation for key officials.
But do you believe that as a city administrator, you have the discretion, the power, the opportunity, the position to recommend people who deserves appointment as key official? With the ample function that you have shared to this committee, I believe yes.
Your Honor, perhaps prepare a short list for consideration, but I cannot really make that recommendation because that exercise belongs to the appointing authority. It's the
Yes,
local
but
chief
if the
executive.
appointing authority will be soliciting your position relative to the people who are supposed to be appointed for key positions, would you give your opinion concerning this matter?
Your Honor, in my experience as the city administrator of the vice president when she was then mayor, she never asked me for any particular person or name that she should consider.
How about in the execution of contract in behalf of the LGU? Do you give your legal opinion, especially considering that you are a lawyer?
Your Honor, in the city government of Davao, there is only one lawyer, and that is the city legal officer. So all contracts that are executed or performed or entered into are reviewed and given legal opinion by the city legal officer, Your
If
Honor.
there are occasions when the opinion of the legal officer is not in consonance with yours, don't you volunteer your opinion being the city administrator and a lawyer at the same time?
Your Honor, I can only confer really with the city legal. But at the end of the day, it is the city legal who will make that final recommendation to the city mayor.
In
Or the local
scheduling the LCE in very important meetings, do you give your opinion as well as to which meeting she should be giving priorities?
Your Honor, from the very beginning, that was very clear to us that we do not really involve ourselves in the appointments or the scheduling of our principal.
How about in
Then-
budget preparation, Attorney Lopez? Don't you give your insights about which item, which program needs bigger budget compared to the others?
In the preparation of the budget for the city government, Your Honor, what is being done is that the city department heads, all 42 of them, I think, more or less, make a presentation as to their priority programs.
Is it not that you are the one at the core, at the center of all these department heads, being the one representing the office of the LCE?
No, Your Honor, I sit in only as city administrator.
As
There
a
is
matter of
also
fact, as city administrator, you do help reconcile the budget of all the departments of the LGU. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, it really depends on for one, the presentation of all the projects and programs of all the city department heads. And then we make that presentation to the local chief executive. And then the local chief executive will decide which programs will be prioritized. We do not have
Do you mean to tell us that you do not recommend with respect to the programs which needs to be provided with budget?
Your Honor, my role really is that once there is an identification of a particular project, for example, may I be allowed, Your Honor, to give an example, just a short one, a brief one. For example, our collaboration with the National Museum of the Philippines for the establishment and construction of the National Museum of the Philippines in Davao City. All right. So this was an item that was proposed by some of the city department heads. So it is one of those projects that we presented to the local chief executive. And once she says that, yes, we will do this project and the timeline is set for this period, that is the time that I, as a city administrator, come in and start talking to key officials from the National Museum of the Philippines, draw the necessary legal documents that will document.
You wanted to tell us, Attorney Lopez, that the LCE approves first before you have the hand of being part of that program or
Yes,
activity. Is that what you wanted to tell us?
that is correct, Your Honor, because my role really as city
In all
admin,
matters concerning the office of the city of the mayor, you wanted to tell us nag-approve muna ang mayor bago ka umakto as city administrator?
that is correct, Your Honor, especially in projects such as...
Attorney, if I may interrupt, that is quite hard to believe. Because as city administrator, you're supposed to check all the programs, all the concerns, all the decisions, all the matters that will be presented to the LCE before her decision. Is that not the real situation of a city administrator?
Your Honor, I can only speak from my experience working with the local chief executive.
If you are not giving these recommendations to the LCE, then who gives the recommendation?
Your Honor, in that example that I gave, that was an output of the briefing with the several city department heads. That is one of the programs and projects that was listed. These are projects that we prepare and report to the local chief executive for consideration.
Kanina po may binanggit kayong you're heading all the committees. Tama po ba yun?
I preside, Your Honor.
You also made mention about the different departments. What do you do with the different departments?
Coordination, Your Honor.
You coordinate with the different departments and you draft programs and do the implementation as well as the coordination with the rest of the departments of the LGU. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, Your Honor. For example, in the case that I mentioned earlier, ma'am, in that partnership with the National Museum of the Philippines, it has to be approved first that we will embark on that project before we actually proceed any further.
Are you aware that city administrator is oftentimes referred to as Little Mayor? Have you heard of that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Why do you think the position of, or the person, the city administrator, the municipal administrator, the provincial administrator are being referred to as Little Mayor?
Little Mayor, precisely, ma'am, because you are the go-to person of all city government, city department heads, and then sometimes you traffic the deliverables and the projects that are expected per city department head. In other words, Your Honor, my role really, I am not a city engineer. I am not a city veterinarian. But what I do is, if there is an issue on ASF that the local chief executive wants addressed, I coordinate with the city veterinarian who is actually the expert on that program. That is my role, Your Honor. It's purely, how do you say this? Ensuring that they are able to come up with their projects that they have proposed themselves and it is delivered at a certain timeline as they
You-
have committed to the mayor.
You are correct, Attorney Lopez, that the department heads are the experts on their respective field. But I wish to believe that before the mayors, the LCEs, take an action on whatever they are being presented, she is being presented, it always solicits for the green signal of the city administrator because you are expected to check the genuineness, the propriety, the veracity of all the concerns, programs, and projects which are being presented by the various department heads. Do you agree with me?
Your Honor, I speak from my experience. That is how it was done when I was city administrator for the local chief executive.
Do you mean to tell us, Attorney Sulaika, that for the longest time, that is 2010 to 2013, and then 2016 to 2022, your
2016.
opinion and recommendation was never solicited by your LCE?
Maybe on matters, Your Honor, such as, for example,
That is quite hard to believe, Attorney Sulaika, because otherwise, we will not be able to come up with this little mayor thing, which is being used to refer to the city administrator, if indeed walang kapangyarihan ang mga administrators. As a matter of fact, this representation used to be a municipal administrator.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, respectfully, I can really just speak from my experience. That is the style that I was accustomed to under the local chief executive.
Kanina po may mga programs kayong nabanggit which you implement. Can you please cite some in brief?
Katulad po nung na-mention ko ng
Just the
collaboration.
title, attorney.
The construction, Your Honor, and partnership with the National Museum of the Philippines for the establishment of one such branch in the city of Davao.
What else?
Um, the high priority bus system, Your Honor, that we started during the term of Vice President Inday Sara, but it's still ongoing right now. The Davao Samal Connector Bridge, which also we started with, but it is still ongoing, as well as the pending, among others, no, the pending waste to energy projects. One of those that was finished is the underground cabling.
Just give us a rundown. What these programs did you implement during those times? We are talking about 9 long years. You sitting as the city administrator.
Yes, Your Honor, these were projects that were proposed by the city department heads.
So can you please
Judy.
give us a rundown? Ano po ba yung mga programs na yun? 3 pa lang po yung binigay nyo. We're talking about 9 years here.
Another one would be another would be the Davao Bypass Road, which is a partnership with the JICA group. That
Parang
was
yung
also-
binabanggit nyo, ma'am, ay mga construction project. Tama po ba?
Meron din pong other activities, Your Honor. Of course, the celebration of all the festivals that happen in a year, which is tatlo, which is the Charter Day celebration, the Kadayawan Festival, the Pasko Fiesta, that one.
Do you mean to say, Attorney Sulaika, that among these programs coming from the various departments, you are partnering with the department head in terms of implementation?
Your Honor, the person responsible for the implementation really is the city department head. For
Sunod
example,
ko pong itatanong sa inyo, if you are not recommending, you are not suggesting, and then you will be telling me it is the department head who implements, ano pong ginagawa nyo as city administrator?
ma'am, I ensure that these projects happen
You
and
oversee.
are delivered on time.
And in overseeing, of course, you
schedule.
coordinate with the department heads. Tama po ba?
That is correct, Your
And you
Honor.
will agree with me also na lahat po ng programs na ito, we cannot implement them without the necessary budget. Tama po?
Yes, there is a budget for such.
And
It-
considering the length of time that you've been sitting as the city administrator of Davao City, you are well-versed pagdating po sa budget ng LGU. At least you are familiar with the budget of the LGU.
Familiar, yes. Not as familiar as, but as the finance cluster of the local
Because you said
government
you
would be-
coordinate. You coordinate with the different departments. Tapos sabi niyo po kanina, the budget preparation is being submitted by, the proposed budget are submitted by the different departments. So I suppose that in your coordination with the different departments, you are aware also of the budget of the LGU. Am I correct, Attorney?
For big ticket projects, Your Honor, yes, I am aware because they make the presentation, the city department heads.
What is that for?
For projects that similar to the ones I mentioned early on, Your
Yes,
Honor.
and I suppose that when the project has a very huge allocation, you will be aware as well. I want to be enlightened about the budget of Davao City during your time as city administrator 2010 to 2013, 2016 to 2022. Ito po'y na-flash na natin noon, and I want to share it again to the committee. Kindly flash the confidential budget of the Davao City. This is 2016 to 2022, Attorney Sulaika. And apparently, in our previous hearings, we were able to show that among all the LGUs in the entire country, ang Davao City po ang nagkaroon ng pinakamalaki na confidential fund. Being the person who coordinate all the programs with all the focal persons and department heads. Can you please enlighten us? 2016 to 2022. Paano po ba natin na-utilize itong confidential fund na ito?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, if
Please
I may-
continue.
Yes. I appear here, Your Honor, pursuant to the subpoena that was issued me in line with the privileged speech of the Honorable Valeriano. It is in my capacity as the Undersecretary of the Office of the Vice President. I am not here, nor am I connected with the city administrator or city government of Davao. So I feel that I am not really competent to discuss budget concerns primarily because, of course, with all due respect to the new city administrator and also the administration of the city government of Davao, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, I wish to remind the resource speaker that the confidential fund which is being shown in the screen pertains to 2016 to 2022, the time when our resource speaker was the city administrator. Earlier, she explained a lot about coordination with the different departments concerning the program implementation. And I wish to believe that this confidential fund is part and parcel of some of the programs which they have implemented already in Davao City. So contrary to her manifestation, Mr. Chair, it is my humble opinion that she is in the best position to enlighten us. Saang programa po ba ginamit itong confidential fund na ito?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I mentioned earlier my role as city administrator. It is really to ensure the efficient and effective implementation of projects that are proposed by our city department heads and are approved by the local chief executive. I also mentioned, Your Honor, that part of my task is to coordinate with the city government departments, which are the various in various different areas: city budget, city engineer, city taxation, local city zoning, city planning. These are the operations part of running a local government, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. In my experience and in my term as the city administrator, I have no direct knowledge, no personal information as regards the confidential budget of the city government of Davao.
Mr. Chair, if
It is
the
not-
resource speaker is making a representation that he has no knowledge whatsoever about the program utilization where this confidential fund were spent, then who has knowledge over the utilization to which program of this confidential funds?
Your Honor, I can only speak for myself.
Mr. Chair,
On my end, Your Honor, respectfully, much as I want to give a definitive answer, I have no personal information as to the utilization, disbursement of the confidential funds.
Mr. Chair, I just find it strange na si Attorney Sulaika po, alam niya yung tungkol sa museum, alam niya yung JICA project, and yet she has no knowledge whatsoever with respect to the huge amount of confidential fund that is from 2016 to 2022. If we can share it again in the screen, ang laking pondo po nito. As a matter of fact, if we will be following the joint circular during that time, this is 30% of the Peace and Order program of the LGU of Davao. Hindi ko po maintindihan why we've been hearing that Davao City is the most livable place to live, the most peaceful place in the Philippines, and yet mayroon pong ganito kalaking halaga ng confidential fund. So, considering, Mr. Chair, the ample function, authority, discretion of an administrator, anyone who is assuming the position of an administrator, I do not understand why Attorney Zulaika could not enlighten us, at least of what she knows, to which program these confidential funds were utilized. If I may read, Mr. Chair, 2016, this is 144 million. 2017, this is 293 million. 2018 is 420 million. 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, 460 million. I wish to believe, Mr. Chair, that after the LCE, after the mayor, the next person who is aware about the program implementation, which includes the budget utilization, is the city administrator. As admitted by the resource speaker, she's the one coordinating all the programs. She's the one coordinating with all the departments. How come she has no knowledge at all with these huge amounts of confidential fund which were utilized in Davao City from 2016 to 2022? That is a manifestation, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Congressman Konghon.
Just a small question, Mr. Chair, in line of the questioning of Attorney Luistro, Congressman Luistro. Madam Zuleika Lopez, do you have an authority to sign checks nung mayor si VP Sara, si Mayor Sara?
Wala po.
Hindi ka pumipirma ng cheque? Hindi ka nabigyan ng authority na pumirma ng cheque?
I do not anymore recall, but I think I signed. It's a delegated authority to the assistant city administrators, but in the event that they are on leave or on official travel, ako yung nagiging isang signatory. But it is not a usual task that I perform.
So, you sign checks? You sign checks?
Some, Your Honor.
Vouchers? Of course.
Yun ba yung kadikat ng check? Yes, Your Honor. Only in instances
Including confidential funds? Of course.
No, Your Honor. As I mentioned earlier, respectfully, my role as city administrator is really, my task is confined to the operational.
Madam Sulweka, ano rin po ako, naging mayor po ako ng 7 taon. Usually po, isa sa mga responsibilidad ng chief of staff, sine-check po lahat ng voucher na pinipirmahan ng mayor. At usually po, ang administrator, pumipirma po ng mga vouchers, including confidential vouchers na confidential fund vouchers.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I am not the chief of staff. I was the city administrator.
Or the more reason why na
the
ikaw ay
local-
pumipirma.
Yes, Your Honor. The local chief executive has another and a person in a chief of staff of the city mayor's office. I am not that person.
But
So
you s-
for documents, I would assume that before it gets to the city mayor, there is a person who will review it for the city mayor's office.
But you signed vouchers of the local government unit of Davao?
Only in instances, Your Honor, that the person assigned or tasked with that function is on official business or not present.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair, I find
Yes,
it strange
Congresswoman
that
Luistro.
Attorney Lopez is claiming that she signs vouchers only on official business.
No.
But that's what you said.
No, Your Honor, meron kasi pong taong na-delegate yung authority to sign for checks like payroll, etc. Merong pong taong yun.
When you say official business, Attorney Silaika, does that not include the utilization of confidential fund?
Again, Your Honor, I can only speak for my experience. I cannot speak for how it is in other local government units. I cannot. It is only from where I come from. I was city administrator for all of 9 years. All of 9 years, Your Honor. And my task really was to handle and ensure that all the projects, all the infra, all the other collaborations and projects that we have planned for the city government of Davao is implemented according to schedule.
So,
That
Attorney
has always
Lopez.
been my role.
Ma'am, as city administrator of Davao,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are saying that you do not sign checks. Is that correct? As city administrator of Davao for the past, ilang years po ba yun? 6 or 9 years?
9 years.
9 years.
9 years. You do not, you have nothing to do with the checks. Wala po kayong pinipirmahan? No, just answer yes or no. May pinipirmahan po ba kayong cheque o wala as city administrator?
Merong mga instances na napipirma ako, Your Honor. Because
Hindi po ba part ng trabaho niyo yan as city ad? Na
Hindi.
signatory kayo ng
I have,
cheque?
Your Honor, as city administrator, meron pong 2 pang assistant city admin who is tasked with that job.
Okay. Yung tanong po kasi nila, bilang city ad, kayo po ba ay isa sa mga signatory sa cheque referring to confidential fund?
Your Honor, I have no personal information
Hindi,
or
no,
knowledge.
no.
None.
So, ni isa po, wala po kayong pinirmahan
Wala po.
na confidential fund. Yun lang po yung
Wala
ating tanong nila. Tama po? Wala?
Wala po.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, to substantiate the representation that was given to us by Attorney Silaika, may I ask if she will be generous enough to share the vouchers which she signed during her time as city administrator?
Your Honor, I cannot anymore recall. And I feel that I am not, I do not have that information right now, so I cannot really share this information, if ever.
To continue, Mr. Chair,
Please continue, Congresswoman Luistro.
I understand, Attorney Silaika, that in 2022, you were one of the 4 officials from Davao City who were brought to the OVP by the Vice President. Tama po ba?
That not brought, but we applied. Sumama po kami.
All right. You applied and you were admitted to the office of the Vice President. Am I correct?
Yes.
That is actually the pronouncement that was made by the Vice President. 4 high-ranking Davao City Hall officials have joined the OVP. That was her press statement. Can you please enlighten us? Sino po ba itong 4 na ito?
The second one is Mr. Lemuel Ortonio.
The one who did not attend the hearing.
And the third, I do not anymore recall, Your Honor.
Attorney, 4 kayo, hindi mo pa maalala.
Okay, Miss Jean Rose Texon. Sorry, I forgot you. Sorry. It's Miss
May we
Jean.
know the position of Miss Jean?
I was the city tourism officer of Davao City.
And in OVP, you are?
I'm
What
the
position?
satellite lead of the Southern Mindanao Satellite Office.
Satellite lead.
Yes, ma'am.
Who's the 4th official, attorney?
Your Honor, the one, Miss Carla Echavia, in charge of the appointments team. of
I
the
recall,
Vice
Attorney Zulaika, that during the last hearing you failed to attend. Tama po? And you gave your explanation already kanina. It was a medical emergency in United States. Tama po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
I watched the press con of the Vice President, and she was very explicit about saying that she gave her authority, her travel authority to you.
She gave me authority to travel.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But she did not make mention about the rest of the OVP officials who were not able to attend during the last hearing. Is it correct to assume that kayo po ay very close sa ating Vice Presidente? Reason why she really takes the initiative of justifying your absence, your travel during the last hearing?
Your Honor, my proximity to the Vice President or to the principal is really because I am the Chief of Staff. And then I report to her on updates on the operations that happen on ground. So,
Why do you think she did not justify the absence of Gina Acosta,
I,
of Ortonio, Sunshine Fajarda, Edwin Fajarda? Bakit po kaya among all these officials, tanging kayo lang ang ginustify niya because of the travel authority that she issued in your favor?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I cannot presume to answer for the Vice President. She may have her reasons. But I filed the necessary request because it was a medical emergency. That's why I had to leave immediately that very same day.
Of course, you, attorney, you understand that this is the 6th hearing already.
Yes, Your Honor.
May I know if you watched the previous hearings?
Hindi po lahat.
Or at least you heard about what happened during the previous hearings?
Are we talking about the hearing, ma'am, last? Hindi ko na po na
The last
nasundan.
5 hearings.
The,
If you didn't watch the last 5 hearings, at least you've heard about the salient developments that went through during those last hearings.
yes, I have heard some. Yes.
Of course, because this involves the OVP and the
Correct.
DepEd. Tama
Correct.
po ba?
Yes. I have
Do
heard
you
some.
know Yusek Mercado?
She used to be with the Department of Education, Your Honor.
That's what we understand as well. And you are with the Office of the Vice President.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Were there occasions when you also joined the operation or program implementation of the DepEd?
No, Your Honor.
Were there occasions that you met with the officials of the DepEd?
All operational concerns that are brought to the Office of the Vice President, because at the same time, she was also then the Secretary of Education, are matters we refer to USEC POA when
I
he
understand.
was...
But the question is about you, Attorney Zulaika. Mayroon ho bang mga pagkakataon na pumunta kayo doon sa DepEd para makiisa sa mga program implementation?
The only instances, Your Honor, that the Office of the Vice President were in DepEd were for instances when the Vice President receives courtesy calls in the bulwagan ng edukasyon.
Were there occasions when you joined the meeting of the key officials of DepEd?
No, Your Honor.
Were there occasions that you represented the Vice President in the official functions in the Department of Education?
No, Your Honor.
None at all.
None.
In one of those hearings, Attorney Zulaika, Yusek Mercado testified that she was asked to allow this negotiated procurement of the department computerization program budget. And she refused. And after some time, you ask her to resign. The reason why you ask her to resign is because she refused to conform to the negotiated procurement of the department's computerization program. Can you please enlighten us on this?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I was instructed by the Vice President to call Yusek Mercado and tell her that the principal has lost her trust and confidence in
Sabi
her.
niyo po kanina, hindi po kayo nakikialam sa DepEd, di po ba?
Your Honor, that was just an isolated incident. In this case, ginagawa ko po lang yung trabaho ko because the Vice President was also the Secretary of Education. And in that instance, she said that I was to be the one to advise Ma'am Gloria that the principal has already lost her trust and confidence in Ms. Mercado for certain reasons, and that it cannot be Mr. Poa who will handle it, because to prevent friction among senior officials in the Department of Education. That the thought being, if it were Mr. Poa who will be the one to say that to Ma'am Gloria, it might create unnecessary friction in the working relationship of the senior officials of the Department of Education, Your Honor.
But
And
at least, Attorney Salaika, you confirm that you were the one who asked Yusek Mercado to resign.
yes,
from
I was
DepEd.
instructed by the Vice President to do so.
In your capacity as a lawyer, Attorney Salaika, do you believe that you have a legal basis to do that?
Your Honor,
Yes or no, Attorney?
yes, I had legal basis to do that.
Why?
Because,
Your
Your Honor,
office is with the OVP, and the person you're asking to resign is with the DepEd.
Your Honor,
Because if you
I
will
am the
be claiming that you have the legal basis to do that, then the people in the DepEd has the legal basis also to meddle in the operation and separation of employees of the OVP.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, for the record, this is an isolated incident. It was an instruction given to me by my principal, and at the same time, my principal was also the Secretary of Education. So it was a task that I simply did, which was to advise Ms. Mercado that given that the principal, to advise her that the principal has lost her trust and confidence in her, and then to please submit a letter of resignation. That was a task I had to do. I did, Your Honor. Ginawa ko lang po
Will
yung
you
trabaho ko.
welcome Attorney Sulaika, the DepEd official, coming into the office of the Vice President, meddling on the operation of the OVP? Would you welcome that? Yes or no? I believe no.
Again, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, it was really an isolated incident where I was instructed by the Vice President, who was also the Secretary of Education during that time.
Attorney, please enlighten us. Walk us through. Kwento niyo po sa amin. Paano po nangyari itong pagkikita ninyo at pag-uusap ninyo ni Yusek Mercado?
I was instructed first by the Vice President to call on Mr. Mercado.
Kailan po yan?
Ay, hindi ko na po maalala.
At least the year and the month.
I think last year, Your Honor.
Last year, this is 2023. Anong buwan ho ba ito?
I am sorry, Your Honor, I cannot anymore recall. But it
First
was not
quarter,
this year.
second quarter?
I cannot anymore recall.
You
Your
should
Honor.
have remembered this because you are asking a high-ranking DepEd official to resign. This is something which is very remarkable.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, it was,
Please continue.
thank you. It was really a task that was given to me, which I performed.
Yes, but please walk us through. Paano, kailan nangyari po itong pag-uusap niyong ito ni Yusek Mercado?
Hindi ko na po maalala yung time, ma'am. O yung buwan o yung period.
Saan po kayo nag-usap?
Pinatawag po namin siya sa Office of the Vice President Central Office.
And then,
Ah,
did you personally call her?
No, Your Honor.
So who called Yusek Mercado?
Mr. Lemuel Ortonio, I understand.
Mr. Lemuel Ortonio. And then, what happened?
Then she came to the office, Your Honor, and then we sat with her and then told her
When you
about-
said we, who are among those
Mr.
who
Lemuel
talked with him?
Ortonio.
The three of you.
Yes.
Just the three of you.
That is correct.
And how did the conversation start?
Sinabi po namin sa kanya na the reason that she's called there, and then we told her that we were instructed, we were operating on the instruction of the Vice President, who was also the Secretary of Education that time. We told her that the principal has lost her trust and confidence sa kanya, and for
Would you know, Attorney Sulaika, kung gaano na katagal na nagtratrabaho si Yusek Mercado sa DepEd when this incident happened?
I would assume, Your Honor, that she has been working with the government for quite some time.
Like 40 years, 30 years?
Maybe, yes.
And you will agree with me that this is a very serious thing, asking somebody to resign, somebody who has rendered service in the government for more than 30 years already. Tama po ba?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, this is not to also belittle the credentials of Yusek Mercado. It is not. But the reason that I was instructed to tell her that the principal has lost her trust and confidence in her already, Your Honor. So, yun lang po yung sinabi ko at yun lang po
Attorney,
yung-
you are a lawyer. It is fundamental upon us to follow due process. Did you accord Yusek Mercado the fundamental right to due process?
I told her the reasons why, Your Honor.
Yes, did you give her ample opportunity to explain her side?
Yes, Yusek Mercado explained, but I told her that I was not the person that she was to talk to because I am not part of DepEd. I told her to take these concerns to the Chief of Staff or the Office of the Secretary in the Department of Education.
Medyo unfair po yan, Attorney Sulaika. When you will be advising Yusek Mercado that she has to tender her courtesy resignation, you will be claiming that that is an instruction coming from your principal. And now that Attorney Sulaika is trying to explain
Attorney
herself,
Mercado. Attorney Mercado.
Yusek Mercado is trying to explain herself, you will be telling her that you do not belong to DepEd.
I listened to her, Your Honor. I did. I listened to her. But at the end of the day, I cannot make that decision because I am not with the Department of Education.
Of course, you understand the theory of constructive dismissal. Do you? You do. Because we are lawyers. Please enlighten the committee. What is constructive dismissal?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair. What I did was really in pursuance of the instruction of the Vice
Mr.
President.
Chair, can we please direct our resource speaker to be responsive to the question?
Attorney Sulaika,
Yes,
I
Mr.
understand that you have back problem. Would you like me to declare 1 minute suspension?
Thank you.
1 minute
Thank you.
suspension is declared by the chair.
I appreciate that, Your Honor.
Resume. Pinapapahinga ng bank.
Session resumes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, just a quick.
Deputy
I-
Speaker,
I just couldn't help but
AJ
notice. Attorney Zulaika, can I just ask the identity of that person you were conferring with while we were at recess?
Mr. Attorney Lito Go, Your Honor.
Yeah, what he serves what purpose?
Your Honor, in the subpoena, I was allowed and afforded counsel.
Okay. No, I'm not denying you of that right. My question is, have they entered their appearance into the committee?
Comsec, would you please enlighten us?
Not yet, Your Honor, although they were also present here in the previous hearing of November 11, Your Honor.
What do the rules of the committee dictate, Comsec?
At least entry of appearance, Your Honor, for counsels. Even in our previous meetings, it was done, Your Honor.
Okay, so to the lawyers, will you enter your appearance?
Entry na lang, sir. Pa-entry na. Verbal. Apo, verbal na lang. Okay lang.
Mr. Chair, I'm Attorney Lito A. Go Jr., respectfully appearing before Attorney Zulaika Lopez, Mr. Kelvin Teñido, and Ms. Edeline Rabago.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Attorney Go. And yes.
Good afternoon, Your Honors, Mr. Chair. I am Attorney Anel Martin Antero. I represent Attorney Lynn Sanchez and Ms. Julieta Villa del Rey, as well as Dr. Sorongon, Ms. Regina Texon, and Director Norman Barlongon. Baloron, Your Honors.
And they have availed of your services in their private capacity, is that correct?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And also for Attorney Go?
Yes, Your Honor, that is confirmed.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
That's it, just for procedural matters. Thank you very much.
May we remind both councils that the participation of the legal councils is limited only to advising your client of their legal rights. Yun lang po ang pwede ninyong gawin, okay?
And also for other resource persons, kung meron po kayong abogado, mas maganda na ipakilala nyo na kaagad yung abogado ninyo bago tayo mag-umpisa para lang hindi tayo magkaroon ng aberya o problema habang tumatakbo tayo. Kasi iniiwasan po natin yung sa kalagitnaan sa kanyo lang ipapakilala yung mga abogado ninyo. Procedural matter lang po namin sa committee niyo. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, Attorney.
Thank you po. You may proceed, Honorable Jinky Luistro.
Mr. Chair, we are asking for the enlightenment of Attorney Zulaika with respect to constructive dismissal.
Yes, Attorney Lopez, please.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Chair. From what I recall, constructive dismissal happens when an employee is forced to resign under certain circumstances. In the case of Yusek Mercado, she has the rank of undersecretary, and she serves at the pleasure of the appointing authority. So, given that the principal has lost her trust and confidence, then we can also ask for her to resign.
To add, Mr. Chair, by constructive dismissal, you are placed in a situation where you have no other option but to resign. I understand that Yusek Mercado is occupying a position of confidence. However, Attorney Zulaika, you will agree with me that the requirements of due process, notice and hearing are fundamental. did you follow the requirements of due process before you asked Yusek Mercado to resign?
Uh,
I believe that the question is answerable by yes or no.
I informed her, Your Honor, of the reasons why. She also
Did you
explained.
follow the requirements of due process before you asked her to resign?
Please be responsive.
Yes, I followed the due process
If you
procedure, Your
did,
Honor.
mayroon ho ba kayong pwedeng i-present na notice of hearing where she can explain herself?
What, Your Honor, if I may explain, in that isolated incident, I asked her, I told her the reasons why the principal has already lost her trust and confidence, and she did, which I think is a minimum, qualifies really as a due process. For what reasons were she being let go of? And then she also explained her side. She was given a chance to explain her side.
Mr. Chair, if Attorney Zalaika is maintaining the position that she followed the requirements of due process, question number 1, did you give her a copy of the complaint? Yes or no? No. Did you set a hearing for her? Yes or no?
No, Your Honor.
3, did you come up with a resolution on the issue that is being charged against her? Yes or no?
No,
I
Your
believe
Honor.
no. And therefore, you did not follow the requirements of due process. Mr. Chair, I wish to proceed. Attorney
Please proceed.
Zalaika, who decides on the amount to be disbursed? To guide you, we are leading to the confidential fund of the OVP. Sino po ba ang nagde-decide when it comes to disbursement? And may I request the Secretary to please flash the disbursement voucher. I wish to believe that at least you're aware of this, being the Chief of Staff of the Office of the Vice President. Can you please enlighten us, Attorney Zalaika? Who decides? Sino po ba ang may call pagdating sa amount to be disbursed with respect especially to the confidential fund of the OVP?
Your Honor, I have no personal knowledge of this DV because it never passed through me.
Saan po ba kayo nag-opisina, Attorney Zalaika? Do you share the same office with the Vice President?
Yes.
Yes?
That is correct.
So, can you please walk us through? Ano ho bang itsura ng opisina nyo? Nasaan po ba ang lamesa nyo in comparison to the table of the Vice President?
Your Honor, the Vice President is not in the office 7 days a week or 5 days in a work week, Your Honor.
In other words, sino po ang nagdadala ng mga disbursement voucher sa ating Vice President?
I think, ma'am, the question is best directed to the Director for Finance and Admin.
Hindi po ba kayo ang nagdadala ng disbursement voucher?
Hindi po, Your Honor.
But at least can you confirm to us that with the signature of the Vice President affixed in the disbursement voucher, he's the one, she's the one who has the call in terms of disbursement? Yes.
Your Honor, I have no personal knowledge, so I am not the best person to answer the
You've
question.
been with the President since,
The Vice President.
with the Vice President since her time as Mayor of Davao. That is 2010. Tama po?
Yes.
And you're very much familiar with her signature. Tama po? You're very much familiar with her signature. I am asking you, ma'am, if having worked for the Vice President since 2010, you're very much familiar with her signature?
Yes, Your Honor, but
And would you confirm that the signature affixed in the disbursement voucher is the signature of the Vice President?
Your Honor, may I know if this disbursement voucher came from the OVP?
Maybe we can ask the COA to confirm if this is part of the documents of the OVP. Attorney Camora?
Attorney Camora, you are recognized.
This is the one submitted to them.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
With that confirmation, would you confirm that the signature belongs to the Vice President?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, if these were the documents submitted to the Commission on Audit, may I know, if these were the documents, then that would be the signature of the Vice President.
And it is because of this disbursement voucher that the succeeding slide, the check was issued in favor of Gina F. Acosta. Would you confirm that? Attorney Salaika? Paki-zoom po nung check. Secretariat, kindly zoom the check. The next slide, please. This one is the voucher. You confirm, Attorney Salaika, that because of the disbursement voucher signed by the Vice President, this check was issued in the name of Gina F. Acosta.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I have no personal knowledge as regards this one because it never really passed through me. It is signed, I understand, by Director Sanchez and Mr. Ortonio.
Hypothetical tayo, Attorney Salaika. Kapag nag-i-issue ng voucher, anong kasunod?
Check, Your
Check,
Honor.
without specific reference to this check. And then let's go to the utilization of confidential funds. Secretariat, kindly flash the accomplishment report. Dito po sa accomplishment report, naka-itemize ang expenditures from the 125 million spent on the last quarter of 2022. Ito po yung ginastos in 11 days. Can you please enlighten us? Sino ho ba ang nagdi-determine nitong mga information na bibilhin?
Your Honor, I have no personal knowledge as to the disbursement or utilization of the confidential funds. My job and my role really in the Office of the Vice President is confined to certain areas, primarily operations.
How about with respect to the payment of reward? Who determines who will be given reward?
I have no information as regards that, Your Honor, because these are documents that they really did not pass through me.
How about with respect to the rental of other incidental expenses relative to the maintenance of safe houses? Who determines this?
Hindi ko po alam, Your Honor.
Hindi nyo rin po alam. The purchase of supplies, sino po ba naglilista ng mga bibiling supplies?
Your Honor, I have no personal knowledge.
Next, the provision of medical and food aid. Who determines who will be the beneficiaries of this medical and food aid?
Your Honor, as mentioned earlier, Mr. Chair, these are documents that did not pass through the Office of the Chief of Staff. So I really have no
The
personal...
question, Attorney Sulaika, is no longer on the documents, but the purchases, the expenditures that are mentioned in the document.
I have no information on that, Your Honor.
The last item, Attorney Sulaika, payment of incentives or traveling relative to the confidential operation. Who determines this?
I have no information, Your Honor.
In the previous hearings, Attorney Sulaika, General Mempin testified. And he said he has no knowledge about this. You are the chief of staff, and now you're saying also you have no knowledge about this. The question is, who has knowledge about the utilization of this confidential fund?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I can only really answer for myself. These are documents that did not pass through me, so I have no personal information as to, I am not privy to this kind of information, Your Honor. So
Mr.
I
Chair.
cannot answer.
Mr. Chair, I do
Your
not want
Honor.
to sound repetitive, but it is really unbelievable for a chief of staff to have known nothing about the utilization of the huge amount of 125 million, not even one of the several items that was mentioned in the accomplishment report. And the question that is left unanswered, kung hindi ito alam, this is OVP, ni Yusek Mempin. Kung hindi ito alam ni Attorney Zulaika, sino pong nakakaalam nito, Attorney?
Your Honor, I do not presume to know the answer because, again, these are documents that really did not pass through my office. There are certain areas in the Office of the Vice President that I am not really privy to. There is information that I am not privy to. So I cannot give you a definitive answer. Respectfully, Your Honor, much as I want to give a definitive answer, these are matters that are information that are not available to me. Mr. Chair.
Attorney, I want to go back to the issue on Yusek Mercado. Sabi niyo po kanina, isolated occasion ito?
Yes, isolated incident.
During the time that she gave her testimony, she made mention that there are 5 other DepEd officials whom you advise to resign.
That is correct, Your Honor. I was also instructed by the
In
Vice
other words, this is
President.
not an isolated occasion.
It's a task, Your Honor, that I do not do as Chief of Staff on a regular basis. That is what I meant. These were instructions that were given to me by the principal, primarily because she said that it cannot be Michael Poa who will handle it because it will already create friction among senior officials in the Department of Education. It was a task that she gave me, which I fulfilled and did, Your Honor.
I just want to remind you, Attorney Zulaika, of your initial statement, that there was never an occasion that you meddled with the operation, program, or project of the Department of Education. And then we made mention about Yusek Mercado. You said that this is an isolated occasion.
Yeah.
Now you admit that there are 5 other DepEd officials whom you advised to resign. Do you honestly believe na kung 6 na sila, isolated pa yan?
When I say isolated, ma'am, I use the term in a manner that it is not something I do regularly. It is only upon instruction of the Vice President, Your Honor, Mr. Chair, because she was also at that time the department secretary.
Can you please enlighten us? Who are these 5 other DepEd officials whom you advised to resign?
I think, Your Honor, 4 lang po sila.
And the 5th is Yusek Mercado?
No. I think the 4th is Miss Mercado, Ma'am Mercado. Mr. Ablan. Mr. I forget his name. I think Mr. Arnuco. Mr.
Come again?
Arnuco.
Arnuco.
Mr. Arnuco. And the head for legal, I forget his name. I think Attorney
He's a lawyer.
Attorney Brady.
I wonder what made you ask him to resign? Is he the legal head?
During that time, yes, I think, because he had the rank of USEC, I understand.
And the fourth is Yusek Mercado.
Yes.
Can you please state in brief, what is the reason for asking Ablan to resign?
That one, oh, I think it is still the same, Your Honor, loss of trust and confidence.
Arnuco, the same?
Yes.
Attorney Bradit, the same?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Yusek Mercado, the same?
Yes.
Loss of trust and confidence. This notwithstanding, I am inclined to believe, Attorney Salaika, that what happened to Yusek Mercado happened also to these three other DepEd officials. No copy of complaint, no schedule of hearing, no resolution or decision explaining why you are asking them to resign. And therefore, what you did to them is constructive dismissal.
Again, Your Honor, may I just clarify for the record, it was an instruction by the Vice President. She instructed me to call them and let them know that she has lost her trust and confidence in them.
Mr. Chair, my last question is about the notarized certification by Attorney Abelia. Secretariat, kindly flash the certification of DepEd Confidential Fund 2023, first to third quarter, and then OVP 2022 Confidential Fund, as well as OVP 2023, first to third quarter. Mr. Chair, I wish to manifest that this certification were used in support of the accomplishment report. And this certification were notarized by a certain Attorney Abelia, whom I understand was invited also but did not appear in today's hearing. Tama po ba tayo, Secretariat? She's one of those who did not appear in today's hearing. Nevertheless, Attorney Salaika, are you aware of these documents?
I am not aware of this document. It's only now I see it, Your Honor.
Tataka lang po ako, Attorney Salaika, you are the COS, who therefore is assisting the Vice President as to the documents that she should sign and she should not sign. Ang dami po ng pinepermahan niya. And I thought that it was you, being the Chief of Staff. I do not understand kung bakit you did not assist her at all in all these important documents concerning the utilization of confidential fund. If you're saying again that this did not pass through you, eh sino ho ba nag-a-assist sa ating Vice Presidente sa mga ganitong dokumento?
Your Honor, this is the first time I see it. I would not know who is the one who was assigned to give it to the Vice President.
Attorney Salaika, I'm about to end my interpellation. These are seven documents. And I wish to manifest, ang opisina po ni Attorney Abelia ay nasa Santa Ana, Manila. Ang opisina po ng OVP ay nasa Mandaluyong. Ang opisina po ng DepEd ay nasa Pasig. The Vice President is one of the signatories in all these 7 documents. Can you confirm to us if the Vice President personally appeared before the notary public when these documents were notarized?
Your Honor, I have no information on that. Respectfully, Mr. Chair, I really have no information.
I
on
just
it.
wish to manifest, Mr. Chair, that under the rules, when a notary public is notarizing documents, the signatories are supposed to personally appear during the time that the documents are being notarized. And I find it strange that the notary public is located in Manila, the OVP office is in Mandaluyong, the DepEd office is in Pasig, and it is quite hard to believe that the Vice President instead really took time to be able to appear to the notary public, Mr. Chair.